whistleblower has told them that the TSA employees were instructed on Tuesday that masks are coming back by October for travelers and full COVID restrictions lockdowns by December due to a new dangerous variant out of Canada.
Dude, I remember falling asleep on a plane in my mask and it would like just slide down my giant nose as I was sleeping, so I had my nose out. And I'd be yelled awake, "Sir, get your please put it back up." I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh my God.
Along with put your seat up that's already up.
Yeah. But they went through so hell. They got to be pushing back against it. Like, you're not.
Hey, sweetheart. Everything okay? Everything okay?
Well, here's the thing about masks.
Can you hear me?
Really believe that
I don't even know if you can hear me.
COVID, because they've been proven they're not. You can.
I just don't know.
N95,
but I love you.
That is going to protect
I love you.
You don't need anyone else to wear.
I love you.
But you could. So the reason why masking at population level doesn't work isn't because an N95 mask wouldn't work.
No response.
You used it perfectly for a
Hey, Al Cowling.
But it doesn't. You don't.
So we're going to have to, apparently we're going to have to follow the science in October again. La Familia. What's up with big? I don't know. I doubt anything. But let me look. See, those are the kind of questions I just wonder if they're real questions. What's up with it? It's down. Anyway, I recall being less than enthusiastic about big a while ago. Bing. Oh, it went to 0.003. Well, it's 0.06. The pressure is on. Yeah, the man, the dog, the hair, the styling, the profiling. Oh, I gotta put in the microphone before the hamster comes on so that you don't go, hey, I can't hear. I can't hear. How come I can't hear? So let me see if I can get this done. Hey, cutie pie. With a face like that, surprised you're ever hungry. All right. You should never ask an Italian how'd his day go. I can say that because I'm part Italian. I don't know, my day's all right so far. Had a little bit of good news in the morning. It's hard to keep enthusiasm up on these fronts because it's just systematized. They can sell as much as they want. They know Gary Gensler and the sheriff, the marshal, and the deputies aren't going to do anything to stop it. So that's kind of frustrating. But I'm going to try to do a video this evening when it's cooler on Logic, LGIQ, because they filed their, I guess it was the 10Q. Anyway, I think it was a quarterly report. And it was good. I mean, it wasn't anything new or surprising. But I think it sets up for the next steps that they have. I'd like to do a video on Finger, and I might do that tonight as well. Obviously, the stock isn't trading up, but I think sometimes you just gotta say, screw it. I'm going to buy more, or I'm just going to hang in there. It's very low volume for recent times. I'm not a technician, and obviously my charts didn't really work, the ones that I drew up, yet, anyway. But it does seem like it pulled back to a normal place that it would pull back to, testing support on the, I think it's the 50-day moving average. I don't have it in front of me, but it was one of the averages that pulled back to, and that's normal. I understand there was a big buyer at the end of the day yesterday. At least that's what I was told. There's no evidence of it, so I don't know if that's just hopium or if it's for real. But as soon as there's a buyer in there, I don't think there's much resistance on finger going up quite a bit. The dollar index is trying to push. Well, I remember giving my sort of ill-informed point of view on the dollar, and sure enough, if you're reading the news right now, the United States is trying to offer Saudi Arabia anything to continue to price oil in dollars. And I think they'll get away with whatever their strategy is, because at the end of the day, do you want to make the United States your enemy? I don't think so. But maybe. I mean, we have, as you know, Trump is a really ineffectual president. And we got to vote him out. And we'll be strong again. All right, so 15 minutes before the hamster comes alive. I don't know why I take notes. I can't even read my own notes. And I can't even find what I wrote down. But c'est la guerre. C'est la vie. He's sleeping. 9, 8, 17. 17 means all right, so let me see. You guys, is there no irony left? At long last, no irony. Is there no imagination? Do you guys come from the school of movies where you need everything explained to you in an aside to the one character? Have I watched The Bear on Hulu? No. I can try to find it. I watch, I watch Prime Video and YouTube. Yes, Arthur, we know it's small. Grow up, Arthur. You'll make a fine adult. Is it Latino or Latinx? It's got to be one of the most annoying changes, Latinx. Isn't Latino and Latina, aren't they Spanish words? Or Spanish? And we have to call it Latinx now? Not for me to say. I'm cool with every way. No, it never gets old. That's the thing about my sense of humor. It never gets old. Rhode Island would kick the shite out of it in a war. It's so small. It's carpeted from end to end. Yes, Arthur. Just seeing if I missed anything. Fox Hunter's post showing GTI and Finger market caps being the same. Wow, Jeff Kendrick. That's probably not a coincidence. I'm going to start on the positive. When are we going to murder? Red drum. When are we going to red drum? Red drum. These bastards. Biff Henderson is trashing William on Twitter, posting screenshots of his bankruptcies. Well, guys, why does I don't have enough time to talk about it. Maybe I'll do a video on it. But I lost my house 4 years ago. And it's just business deals I did. I didn't have the cash flow. And when I went to a friend, she and I agreed a contract, but she didn't wire the money. She's a lovely person. She didn't wire the money. I was in Madrid meeting a supposed billionaire. And when I called back, she hadn't wired it. She had flown to California. And she said, oh, I'm going to wire it this morning. Well, they auctioned here in D.C., they auctioned the house. And I fought it. I fought it hard. But in that process, I think I don't know how many times. I just followed a legal advice. But I did file bankruptcy 2 or 3 times to try to keep my house. And at the end of the day, I think what I suffered from, it was a cash flow issue. I had a lot of equity in my house. But I also simultaneously, my father was in hospice, so he couldn't help me. It's just too long to explain, but just as life deals the cards, a couple of my business associates decided to essentially, I don't want to characterize it, but they did things that were illegal to move assets out of our LLCs, and I had to sue them. And then one of the companies that I raised $4 or $5 million for, the CEO introduced my large investor to a charlatan out of New York, and without me present, and without the CEO present, and for whatever reason, that guy made a huge impression, and he started a business with my client. So anyway, all my sources of capital were gone. I had one friend at my old office, Morgan Stanley. It's now Morgan Stanley, who I always, when I was there, I always did more business than he did. But he's a great guy, and he does a lot of production. But he didn't want to help me because he saw me as living for free, whatever that meant. So anyway, it's a long way of saying that I left about $600,000 on the table when other people wouldn't, for whatever reason, wouldn't help. And so a developer got my house. He put $2,000 down at auction, and he failed to settle on the house when it came due, so the court held him in default. And I tried to put together my friends again to let's see if we could develop this as a great location, great profit potential in a development. I think there was $2 million profit in developing it, but obviously not everyone agreed with me. But even at $1 million, that's pretty good. But anyway, once the house right next door to me, identical house, sold for $250,000 more, the guy came back, struck a deal with the court. Anyway, I fought it as hard as I could. So yes, there are bankruptcies that I filed to protect my house. At the end of the day, I didn't take advantage of bankruptcies in terms of any debt at all. The house went to this guy. He got $600,000 or more. I mean, they're developing it now. And I still have all the debt. So that's the short version. I'll be glad to talk about it any other time. But it's something that keeps me awake at night, because I learned with women as partners, they think differently. And if any of you are women, I'm sorry, that's just what it is. Women think differently about risk and about reward. They also don't understand when a man doesn't have the cash flow to carry his own water. She was quite experienced in real estate, but at the end of the day, that was a disconnect. The other problem with real estate, which I've done a lot of, is your partners in real estate. Everybody thinks they know what they're doing in real estate. Everyone thinks they're an expert, and then when your business partner, in this case a friend of mine for over 40 years, meets the contractors and the so-called developer, they cut you out. And that was a tough lesson for me to learn. As a friend of mine used to point it out, there was a billionaire here in D.C. that used to say dog-eat-dog, D-O-G-G-I-E. It's a dog-eat-dog world, but it's a dog-eat-dog world there. So that I still struggle with it, because I don't understand why everything all at once, every single thing collapsed, and I was just left with so few alternatives. And even in the last period of time, my lawyer abandoned me, and it's a lesson of energy. It's a lesson of I don't know what to call it, but it's like groupthink or group experience of emotions. When it starts turning against you, you can't get anything done. And it's a tragedy for me. I loved my house. I wanted to develop it. I was in it 23 years. And, it's an example of the advantages white straight men have in this world. So anyway, we got 3 minutes to go. If anyone wants to ask me questions when Ham's not around about my so-called bankruptcies, these were strategic attempts to forestall a hedge fund and aggressive developers from taking my home. And at the end, I lost. And that's the way it is. Well, Jeff, that lesson I've learned so many, well, not so many times, twice in my life. But it's amazing how many friends I have when I'm making a lot of money or I'm, have a lot of assets. Everybody wants to be around men and women. And then when there's stress, there's only one or two people that help you. And the problem with some of the people's help is it always comes with a moral lesson. That's why when I help someone, I try just to help them without all the morality. But anyway, it's in God's hands. Whoever's putting that up, it's a. I hope that person never has to go through it. Arrogant, whoever it is, but I didn't need that much money to gain control of it. It's just I didn't have it. My dad was dying, and I just had no source of funds, and I spent a lot of time in landlord-tenant court, and I saw how stacked this world is against people just trying to make a living. And it's the hedge funds, it's the banks, and maybe that's part of what drives me. Let me call him. I would have preferred not to have to talk about that, but it's not that I don't have anything to hide. I would have liked to have hidden that. But if someone's putting it up on, God bless them. They're such great people. And if it dissuades you while they're trying to make you bankrupt, all I can do is address it head on. I don't have to. I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
Hey, William, you there?
I'm here. Everyone is hot, bothered, and ready.
Bothered, pissed off. Hold on.
Hot, bothered, and ready.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Again, if you don't want to be here, please hang up and call the SEC up and make a complaint. I put the whistleblowing number up there for you. Knock yourself out. Report the crime. Do whatever you like to make yourself happy. We cannot stop the fraud. We can only report on it and educate you on it. Again, this is not to buy or sell. This is our opinions, and we'll just go from there. All right? So if anyone's paying attention, let's ready to go. Let me just discuss the market in general for you so you guys understand. The market is down 184, and they got the NASDAQ up on the day. Again, it was just up on the day. But they're doing a market rotation. So be careful, meaning that today they're slaughtering. UNH is down 7 points. That's been a darling to push ups up 6, down 6 now. Caterpillar's been selling off. Goldman Sachs has been selling off every day. And when things like that happen, they balance it out by buying, let's see, I think Apple was up before. Apple's up $1, and I'm sure we could find some other ones we start picking around on it. But when you see minefields like Dick's Sporting Goods down $34, BKS, I believe the symbol is, this is the sign of market rotation. And basically, they're going to slaughter stocks independently, and what they do is when the market's down, when these stocks are slaughtered, they'll find levels and they'll start firming them up while the Dick's Sporting Good bounces back 5 or UNH, they'll be killing something else. So we call it a rotation. So just be careful with these big names if you do own them. You look for the long term. They're very dangerous, and when they pull the plug, you can lose 20% of your money in a second, so sometimes I try to tell people, hey, at least sell half. And this way, if it gets wiped out, you can buy it back, half of it on a dip, and you still have half. All right, you can see the rotation. For example, Goldman Sachs has just been selling off every day. And now JP Morgan's selling off, and yet Jefferies is still standing up. Jefferies is a shitty firm. has nothing better than anyone else to offer. The prime broker services obviously has got something going on, with Finger and the Lynn partners. When they get busted here, Jeffries will catch up. So I'm not telling you to buy Jeffries. I'm telling you when Finger Motion starts ripping and roaring, that's when you would buy puts on Jeffries, unless they wipe it out beforehand. But again, just look at the other brokerage firms. They're falling apart, and this amount of time before they get to Jeffries. There was a memo this morning going around. I think I texted it to a bunch of people. Hold on, I'm trying to find it this morning. Give me 1 second. I'm just trying to look through it.
HKD is 846. HKD 846.
I will discuss HKD in a second. You're jumping ahead there, Bill.
Well.
Okay, I just can't find it. Hold on a second. There was a problem with the DTC on some settlement issues, and it's system-wide. So there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that they're trying to hide this mess, to everybody. But for example, I'll try to find out while we're speaking. HKD, it traded up to 842. It's 628. For the last month and a half, it's always been parked at $6, $6.60. Then the other day, you brought it to my attention, it broke. So if you did purchase anywhere between $6.60 and down, you were lucky to get it. You got another chance at the Apple where they squeezed it up again, where the company came out with good news. And you can see this 34 million shares trading. This is the same pattern, like Pete from Philly said about GNS and this volume, where they're actually, you can see them washing the stocks from accounts to accounts. We discussed that before. That's what a lot of this big volume is, them just moving positions around. So again, that's so abnormal that a stock can go from trading 200,000 shares to 50 million shares in one day. Okay? We haven't seen it yet in Finger Motion. We haven't seen it in GTI yet. Okay? So we have not seen those big washing days going on. That leads to me to believe in GTII that we have a sleeping giant between Alpine, the Kramers, the Feds, the DTC, FINRA, lawsuits, you name it. And once they grab Alpine by the hair and throw them out and finally do kick them to the curb, I think that's when we're going to see our day. All right? While we're waiting, the company announced some fundamental news yesterday, and I was laughing to myself how I've been saying I thought Finger's going to go first. Imagine if they flip-flopped again and GTI went. Okay? I just don't know. All right, but the proof and the information is all out there. I try to list it every day. I can't remember everything. I put up the Gretchen Morgensen story again. If anybody wants to text her or reach out to her on Twitter, I'm sure she will get back to you. You can see her story that she posted about the Kramers being loan sharks also, and threatening people that they were going to come to your house. Even if you call the cops, they're going to come get you. She told me on the phone to myself, right to my face on the phone, that the federal agents wanted these guys in jail. I don't know how they're still walking around, but that's not my game. I do believe that they're eventually going to get caught. And, we know they're bad actors. FINRA, the SEC, court orders have labeled them that already as a bad actor, meaning someone that shouldn't be involved in any shape or form with the equity markets. They don't seem to care, and they keep playing around. The only thing tells me that they could actually be giving up other players like Savvy to the federal agents and giving up other players. Because this is so insane that they're still walking around. But anyway, any questions, William? I'm trying to get my
do you know anything about Edward Nancy Charlie Zebra? ENCZ?
ENCZ?
Yeah.
I think you got the symbol wrong.
No, that's what
Eddie Nancy
Charlie Zebra. Eddie Nancy Charlie Zebra. Anyway, don't worry about it if you don't know anything. It's just a
I can't remember
question.
that. I can't remember. I think Kristen follows that one. I think someone follows it. I can't remember who it is. ENEZ. No, that's not it. I can't remember the symbol. But listen, you can't. It's too hard for me to study every stock. So So I follow too, and I study everything about them. I follow the news that relates to it, the shorts, the real shorts, and the real short data comes out on the 24th. We're getting close to that again. So again, these are signs that we use to detect what's going on here. Now, as far as the whales go, there was a guy who posted on Twitter. Let me see if I can find it. And maybe someone can see it. Dan Borders. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's put up that it was going to be $15. Is that the guy you're talking about, Borders?
I don't know. Someone just sent it to me. Let's see if I can find it. 1 second. I'm sorry. I wasn't prepared for this call.
You're doing fine. People just like hearing the voice.
Not my wife. She wants to toss me out every day. Daniel Borders. Is that someone that exists?
Bed, Borders, and Beyond?
Well, I don't. Maybe I'll text it to you, William. Maybe you can tell me. I don't know.
There's a weird thing that one guy has pointed out, and it is interesting. Apparently, the market cap of GTII and the market cap of FNGR right now are identical.
Well, if you look at it, I just texted you what someone sent to me. And maybe you can put that up for everybody while we're speaking.
I can try.
If you read the last line to everybody, William, did you get it?
All right, yeah, let me try. I'm going to have to...
read the last line to everybody while we have it here.
in the video.
No.
I'm just kidding. It says, take your pick, NVOS or NEOV. Both are about to break out on fundamental news, so that's unrelated. Then he says FNGR should move big after this whale meeting in New York Thursday. And I think in another post he said $15 is his target, by the way. I can find that for you. Hang on.
I am trying to weasel my way into that meeting.
Yeah, Daniel Borders said today, I still say $15 in the short term. There's a big meeting in New York this week.
I am going to weasel my way into that meeting and have you take my big ears to that meeting for everybody. So, just to let you know, while everybody's sitting here bitching and moaning, the moan is, we don't control it. William, myself, we do everything possible. I will go anywhere to help anyone out. I had two shareholders, one from Long Island, a baker. He's losing money. He's crying. I have a shareholder that I really respect out in Las Vegas, and he may have to go get a job. And this burns me up more than anything. These are great people, both people, hardworking people that support us. And the Kramers and Lynn Partners have been doing everything in their power, and the SEC and FINRA and the government agencies to allow these guys to do this to good people, that they have to think about it and waste their life. And that's why we're fighting here. And I apologize. I cannot stop the fraud. Trust me, it burns me up, and it only makes me stronger. Don't get me wrong. I don't quit. And we will fight, and we will get through this. I can't help you with the rest of the market. I told you to be careful 1,000 times. I've been telling you for a long time. And I've actually helped a bunch of people take their money out of their pensions while the market was near the top. And now they can have their pension money and actually buy stocks that they see get destroyed and buy them on the dips and actually start doing it yourself. So those are things that I believe I helped good people with, and I hope I had some value to everyone. But I cannot stop this criminal activity. I've tried everything. We're not stopping. Just so you know, we're not going away. We don't quit. We burned our boats, whatever you want to say. We fight as one, and we will carry them out. And I will be in New York City with the so-called whale meeting, okay? I don't know where it is yet, but I will get there. It was brought to my attention that it was coming up. So, obviously, people are sitting, the last meeting I was at, there were 7 to 10 people there. So, again, this is where we ring the dinner bell to Wall Street hedge funds and let them. I'll educate them all on it. I have the new data. It's 166,300,000 shares that are naked short. They have not covered anything. They can keep playing the game. We will take them out, and we will grind them and accumulate it until the heads pop off. All right? The truck, I told everyone, William, I don't know if I told you, I expect the sizzle reel or the trailer for the documentary to be ready in the first week of September. Not many people on this call, or the bullshit people that are crying, I helped raise $125,000 to finance the documentary. I went out of my way, met people, got the money, and got it done. All right, so cut this shit that we don't do anything. Next thing, I expect to have the truck. I'll wait to the LSU Florida State beats the shit out of LSU. Sorry about that, Doza. And after the game, we will have the truck in front of the SEC with some new, very, very powerful statements about Lynn Partners, the Kramers, and naked short selling, and the MMTLP crowd. I don't forget you guys. All right, we will be out in force right after the Florida State game. I'm sorry, I have to go to the game, but we will not quit. We are going to press our bets until we carry these guys out. I can't tell you about the crew in Yorkville or Savvy. Savvy should be hung from a pole, paid his $2 million fine, and living in a $10 million condo on Fisher Island. He belongs in jail. They should pull his teeth out. The guy stole so much money. Everybody knows about him. All right, but the federal government needs to go out and grab the low-hanging fruit, which is the Kramers, Savvy, Andrew Left, those type of people, Hindenburg. Those are the guys that need to go first. And this way, the Citadels and everybody else will play nice and go higher and cut down their looting. Anyway, again, any questions?
What's Finger doing?
Let me look. You want me to look?
Is it going up while you're blabbing?
I am blabbing. I'm sorry. 425 to 430. It's down 13 cents.
So it's coming back a little from the morning.
Listen, they have to cover 166 million shares. It's impossible. We traded 294. If they just cover the 800,000 shares, or whatever is they're short, or whatever is it, 600, 700, the stock will be $8 if they stop selling, just to covering the real short. All right? So, again, I believe the whales, there's many whales in a pod. Is that what it is? There's a pod of whales? Is that what we call it?
Yeah, I think it's a pod of whale. It's a murder of crows.
So there's going to be plenty of people there. I'm going to weasel my way in with all my proof and my data, and I will pitch them until they understand it and their eyes are bleeding from all the nonsense I'll be telling them. All right? So we will not go away. All right? There may be 10, 15, 20 people. If I land 3, that'll be good enough, because the rest of the bunch will be following anyway. I pitched a couple of people at the at the pickleball court yesterday. I got a bunch of guys that were selling puts in NVIDIA. They did quite well, and they're starting to buy the Finger. So, again, I just tell the story. It's an easy story. It's something I believe is life-changing. It's life-changing due to security fraud. So if the SEC is listening, we thank you. When this breaks and we have a life-changing scenario for all of us involved, we thank you, all right, because you allowed this to continue, all right? They are deathly afraid of us going over the hill and winning, because they know what we're going to become once we do it, all right? We will be a major force that they're going to have to deal with down the road. And I waited 23 years to get to this point.
I hope it was worth it. Yeah. Somebody sees a W in Finger on the hourly, whatever that means, spike soon. They're saying you don't have to answer. Why aren't hedge funds in buying GTII and Finger if don't they see the opportunity?
Yes, hedge funds will be buying GTII. When Finger works, why would we get everybody in here before we do? I want to grab as much as possible, right? Why would I get everybody? When you buy a stock, do you tell your friends to get in before you do?
No. But they
So there's an
also,
opportunity. If they want to keep marking it down, okay, the last time both stocks ran at the same time, I was hoping for one to go so I could triple down on the other side, but I couldn't because they both ran at the same time. So I'm kind of hoping that Finger goes first and I could just pile into the other side.
do you expect Finger to run before the end of September?
I expect Finger to run any second. I've always told you that. I believe it's ready to go. It has all the makings of something that's ready to explode. The shorts are trying to take advantage of the downturn in the market. So listen, what would you do if you're the short seller? I'm stuck. I can't cover 166 million. So let me try to keep marking it down. Hopefully we get some people to bail out, which I'm sure they have. People need to protect their families. I understand it. And that's the crime because they're just stealing your money. Okay, they steal $2,000 from you, $5,000 from this guy, and that's how it goes. The information reported on Finger, the fundamentals, it's all right there. If you want to read about it, the CEO's done 100 great videos, everything about it. You can go find out yourself. Right, it's right there. I'm a naked short seller fighter. I got the information from Tom Ronk. That's a $50,000 report that I can get on Finger. I can't get it on every other stock. It's too much money. It was nice enough. I got it in this stock, and I show it to you every day. It calculates all the dark pools, everything, every trade that's calculated. Tom gets to see it, and he reports it to us. Dozer reports it every day at 5:30, but it leads out a lot of exchanges and the dark pools. So that is the real data, which you're seeing there. I report it. You got it for free. That's another $50,000 worth of favors I did for everybody here. So if you think this is a joke and I'm wasting my time, I'm calling in every favor to help everyone on this phone. Everyone. If you don't like it, get lost. What can I tell you? Go call a cop. Knock yourself out.
You didn't comment on the fact that the market caps seem to be right the same right now.
I saw that guy posted it on Twitter, and I'm like, I got a toothache, and I'm looking at it saying, what the hell am I going to figure this out for? Like, it's a headache, it's a non-event.
This is an options question, which isn't advice. The question is, does the premium for out-of-the-money contracts go to the Lynn partners or a portion of it?
It depends. I don't know who's selling them. It could be an investor selling them. If I'm long the stock and I got 50,000 shares, why wouldn't they? Some people like to sell calls against their position. So if I could sell 50 calls or, whatever, 100 calls at 50 cents for the eights and say, okay, I own the stock at 5. If the stock goes past 8, I lose the stock at 8.50. 8 plus 50 cents. So they would take the stock away from me at 8.50. That's a good trade for some people making $3.50. If it doesn't and it stays unchanged till the next option, you get to keep that 50 cents and you still keep your stock.
Yeah.
That's why people write the option sometimes. I haven't done it, but people have done that.
Jenny has a new name for you, Hurricane Ham.
Nah. How about Big Hands, Ham? It's so funny. I'll tell you a quick story. I was a racquetball and squash pro for 35 years. And all I did was exercise my right arm. I'm right-handed. And my right hand and my right arm is enormous, and it's very strong, and it's I got the shape of a crab.
You look like Nadal, right-handed.
That's
Nadal.
What happens. Every tennis players, that's what they did. They work on one arm, and that's what I only swung my right arm my whole life.
Are you concerned at all about how the bad actors win more than lose? They can break the law and cheat over and over and over again with no consequence.
Yes, I was concerned, but I think that game is over. The end is near for these characters. What did they say? They overstayed their welcome? That's what they've done. These guys like Savvy, been stealing for years. The guy bought a $10 million condo in Fisher Island. I say it because if you just Google Fisher Island, these guys are on an exclusive place. It shows you how much money they're stealing. He should have packed up. Instead of buying a condo for $10 million, he should have bought one for $5 million, put $5 million in his pocket or whatever else cash he sold, and enjoyed his life. These guys all wanted to become Warren Buffett. That's who they think they are. That's the problem with these characters. Lynn and the Kramers and Yorkville, they think they're going to become Goldman Sachs. The law's going to catch up with them. The public companies have had enough. The shareholders have had enough. And the DOJ is now getting involved. Everyone knows it. The senators know about it. They overstayed their welcome, and now they go to jail. They think that they can enjoy this money for life. They overstayed.
Yeah, it's somebody's also, Jenny is pointing out on credit cards, 0.01 is a big number. You always say Wall Street's about pennies, and
that's what it is. Everything's about pennies on Wall Street. The name of the game is to stay alive, lower your cost, and just think if you were able to do that. I'll give you an example. I'm just using an example in the video. You know, it was 2 something. Imagine, you know, I can't afford it. It's down 5 today. Instead of making moves to stay alive, people get sold out on the downturn, just like it did the other day. It went down to 403. They drove it from 460 to 403. On August 7th, I posted they were going to attack it. They did. It turned, and it ran to 480. So just think of the people panicking out on that attack down to 403 from 460. That's like a major attack. It turned, and then it went up $80. It's unbelievable.
Somebody's pointing out, I don't know where they meet Tom Ronk, but they say whenever Tom Ronk is around, Ham isn't around. There's rumors that you are Tom Ronk.
I wish I was Tom Ronk. I'll take that back. I don't care if Tom Ronk. I don't care. I don't want to be him. I want to be a Kardashian. Ugh. Hang out, sell makeup, and hang out, and get 1 billion followers for doing nothing.
Think of all the gross men you'd have to sleep with.
That's okay. So my whole family was watching The Bachelorette last night as I walked by and discussed. I can't believe that show's on TV, but I posted about it. Whoever the guy that won, I don't know who it is. Forgot his name. So I had some other things I wanted to point out to you. I'm trying to look for that.
Alpine appeal, not legal advice, says the Alpine appeal will now go forward. Encourage FINRA to take Alpine to federal court. Someone asked, what are you going to do with your whistleblower money? Which I don't think you're going to get, but other people should call in and see if they can get it.
Well, don't give it to me because I'll wind up in a bad place. So I'd rather be broke and not have it. Donate it to cancer. I don't want it. If you give it to me, I will spend it in a bad place. I won't tell you where I'll go, but you don't want to know. I don't want to go there. So I'll give it to cancer. You know, cancer research, children's cancer. I'll follow the Kramers. They know how to donate money to hide their criminal activity. I'll do what they do.
Someone's pointing out that it doesn't take you long to get in and out of a phone booth. No one sees Superman when no one sees Clark Kent when you're around.
Listen, I'm here for one reason. And listen, I'm not a holy roller, but I believe I'm here for one reason. The only reason I'm still kicking and moving and fighting this battle is because someone wants me to do it. And that's why I'm doing it. All right? I really don't care about the money anymore. The money's great. Okay? I've been fighting this battle for 23 years. Trust me, in the beginning, it pissed me off every day. And I fought harder and harder. And it was like me running up a hill of mud. Just kept sliding back down. And we stayed with it. I watched friends die. I had 2 of them pass away. I had one guy kill himself. I had people have heart attacks, divorces, you name it. I've seen it. Knock on wood, I'm still healthy, and I'm not going away. And now I feel that if I did go away, that there'll be people carrying the baton and fighting the battle that if I'm not here anymore. And that's why I have the calls, because I can't be here forever. And if you guys can keep fighting, you're going to win. Just don't give up. I know it sucks. It takes a few minutes. I know it's financially. Everybody wants to go out there. And we're the crowd. We want to buy private jets and drink Cristal champagne every day. Oh, excuse me, that's me. That's what we want to do every day. But unfortunately, life is not about that. You just got to fight. I'm trying to protect my family, my grandchild now. And you know what? I really don't give a fuck about anybody. That's the way it goes. I don't
So
give a fuck who knocks on my door.
do you have to buy 2 pairs of gloves, different sizes?
Yes. No, my hands. I have a very big hand.
Can Ken
If I
Griffin
slap you, it's like a paddle.
can Ken Griffin create sell orders out of thin air?
Yes.
It's
I don't believe he's doing it. I think he's just matching and shorting everything that comes in. Listen, if all the buy orders are naked shorted, how are you going to move the stocks up?
well,
You go to buy
only
10,000 shares of
move-
stock.
they only move 6 or 7 stocks up every day.
It's the same stocks. It's the UNH, Caterpillar. I told you, it's the rotation of the big caps. That's all they're doing.
Yeah.
And they've been holding up the market for a long time. But the rotation where they slaughter some and they move some up takes the sting out of the market. Like today's market, with the stocks that I'm seeing, this market should be down $500, not $154.
Yeah.
But they manage it. They manage it, and I was going to put my friend on. He's the one who just told me about the DTC and the problems at the DTC with stock settlement. But I hung up on him. But what was I saying? I forgot what I was saying.
Do you know I wasn't listening?
I knew I caught you. Anyway, so that's why I feel like I'm still here. I'm here to help everybody. Again, I'm not looking for any fame, fortune, zero. I don't want the money. I could care less. I want to club these guys, club GTII, and then we're going to find a nice cancer company. We're going to save a company that could save people's lives. That's the ticket. That's how I want to end my career. And doing that, dragging a company like a CELU from the rubble, saving it, and actually see them come out with a drug that can save someone's life, my own family member, anybody. That's how I want to end this whole thing. Unfortunately, we have Finger and GTI are the first 2 in the chamber, and then we'll go down the road. But that's how I want to end it. So,
what makes you think Finger is ready to go when the shorts are working with the regulators?
Listen, if the shorts thought they could win, they let the stock go higher. They're holding it down because they cannot win. They're not working with anybody. They're using the system that was designed to protect them. Gary Gensler is not calling up Lynn Partners and telling them they're doing a good job. That's not happening. They're acting between the guidelines of the rules that allow them to naked short. But that's when the stock goes up, they have a margin problem, and that's where hell breaks loose for them. And I have this feeling that the margin problem is going to become big soon.
Apparently, Finger just broke the 200-day, the 50-day moving average. Somebody's saying the 200-day is $3.20 to $3.40, and he's going to load up the truck. Whatever. I'm not sure charts.
I'm not. Again, how do you chart fraud? If someone can explain it to me and show me how you can actually trade off of fraud, then I'd be glad to do it. But they're manipulating the stock down to the 200, and now you're telling me they're going to try to manipulate it lower. Good luck. I mean, I don't. Again, you can do what you want, but I'm just telling you that we know what they're doing. We know that they don't even want to sell it down here because they get no money for it. They get less money, and they have to sell more shares. If they thought they can win, I told you, write it on your hand. If they thought they can win, they take the stock higher. That's all you have to understand. They can't win. They need to push it lower to get you to sell. That's all the game. That's the whole game. And then we just have to figure out through how do we force the issue. and I think we're close to knowing how to force the issue. I'm not going to give everybody the blueprint. All right, we tried 50 things already, and the SEC and the DTC block us on dividends. All right, we know dividends create problems, but there's other things that create problems, and so we're gonna look at doing dividends and create other problems for them. All right, so again, we held a meeting for a reason. I don't control them.
What are the odds this is some kind of algorithm set to destroy retail and it's not human beings? I'm not.
Well, the algorithm is set up. If the algorithm was smart, it would let the stock go higher because they can make more money. That's it. Listen, the one thing that doesn't make sense for an algorithm on this case is that the company, as the revenue is fully funded, it doesn't match anything to do with a company that is a startup or that's struggling. This is nothing. It's in a completely different arena.
Somebody's asking what's the deadline for the restricted shares. I don't remember if it's October or November.
I don't remember it. I'm sure when it gets close, someone will tap me on the head. Tell me.
So on MMTLP, do you think there's going to be a settlement? When do you think? When?
I hope it's any day. They cannot listen. I know everybody's disgusted. What happened here is it was a critical mistake by FNGR and the SEC. The Freedom of Information has exposed them. No court in the world is going to protect the officials, the regulators, over the fraud that's happened. It's impossible. And they put it in writing. Normally, what SEC officials and FINRA officials think is not in writing. The Freedom of Information tells you it's in writing. Are they coming for you, William?
They're coming for me.
Oh, so don't go out crying. There's no way that the officials are going to allow this to continue. You can't. A court of law, West Christian, the courts, everybody's all over this thing. I'm telling you, there has to be something going on behind the scenes, and this is just something that they cannot. They can't hide.
I just for what it's worth, to me, because all the brokerage firms seem to be moving stock when people request it now, and they weren't before. It feels like there's some sort of agreement behind the scenes, but we'll find out. I can't see any more questions that are.
That's it. All right. So listen again. We're not going away. There's dips in stocks. There's dips. There's rips. You can do anything you like in these names. Okay, it's like the video I told people before. If you were buying the dips and selling the rips, you could have made 2-3 trades a day in these names. All right, that's part of Wall Street too. People, look at the low in the video today was 453. If you bought it below 455, you didn't catch the bottom. You caught some there. You can make yourself $3. You buy 500 shares if you can afford it. That's $1,500 for the day. Remember, $100 a day is $500 a week is $2,000 a month. That's how I was taught. When I stopped trading, I was making $15,000 a day. Every day. That was my goal. All right, so get your own goal. Make $50 a day and stop. Just keep adding it up. You never go broke ringing the register. I never want to see anybody lose money. Never turn a winning trade into a losing trade. For those who, I know not everybody caught or traded or did whatever they had to do to survive. But, even Pete from Philly said it. Finger motion went from $1.50, $2 to $7. Just make believe it was $20 and it went to $70. Those are the same numbers. That's how big the move is. All right? I'm not telling you to trade it and run away. But if you own 1,000 shares and you sell 250, you could be stepping here, buying it back, and averaging down lower again. Like, don't be afraid. No one's going to bite you. This isn't, we call it lockdown securities, where you're not allowed to sell. You're allowed to do whatever you like. And I encourage it. If you can't afford it and your family needs money, be smart. Protect yourself. Don't worry about what anybody else thinks. This is about you and your family. We have a bigger picture in our minds that this is a life-changing situation. So if you really can't afford it, you need to, lower your cost. Get some money off the table. Feel safe about what you're doing. Get whatever you have. Listen, I know it's tough to do it because it's down now, but your opportunity is going to come again. And you know what? I can't tell you if it's going to go to 7, 8, pull back to 5, and then go to 500. I don't know. But the only way they can get out of this mess is to buy back the stock. It's Lynn Partners, Madison Avenue. They had the debenture with the company. They got taken out. Now they're stuck and exposed. Everything goes around the time frame. It used to be 6 million shares naked short from 3 years ago, from 2018. And it jumped from 6 million to 166 million. And all that came because of Lynn Partners.
Say that number again.
It went from 6 million
short
to 166 million.
6 million
and that's
short.
All related, and it's all related to Lynn Partners.
I remember that when you first told me the story a few years ago. It was 6 million
2 years
short.
Ago, since December 31st, 2018. First purchase was 287 on New Year's Eve. And now, the stock, I said, there's a short seller in the stock already? And I couldn't believe it. It was only a couple of million shares. And it kept growing, and we were up to 6 million. The stock got squeezed to 17. They beat it back down. Then it got squeezed up again to, I think, 9. They got listed on the NASDAQ. After the listing on the NASDAQ to 9, Lynn Partners came in. I stopped paying attention to it at 9 because I figured it was listed on the NASDAQ. It made it. Everything is great. And they beat it always down to 60, 70 cents because they had a debenture, and these guys wanted to get the lowest price to convert it into stock. That's what Lynn Partners did. From 9 straight down. And I'll never forget it, and now they have to pay the price. And they're paying the price by going broke and going to jail. Is that good?
Yeah, it's good.
I mean, that's just how I feel. And I feel that I'm here on this earth to do this. That's the only reason I feel like I'm still here. Other than that, I'm a drunk, dirty, stay out, womanizer, you name it, I've been it.
I don't believe that.
I had to paint the other side. I don't want to be an angel the whole time.
Well, I don't think you're
That's
an
why
angel
if I
either.
get any whistleblower money, don't give it to me. Give it to my friend the baker. He's always crying. He needs money, that cheap bastard. But anyway, go ahead.
No, there's no other questions. I mean, some are repetitive from before.
Listen, I want people to feel confident and comfortable with what's going on. Again, your money's at stake. It bugs the shit out of me that these guys are still allowed to do this stuff. But again, I do believe that the right formula is on the way, and there'll be another attempt up the hill here. And once we get over, don't let us get over the hill, because if we do, we're going to be barbarians. As they say in Pulp Fiction, we're going to go medieval on these fuckers.
Well, I'll tell you, with these guys working in August to meet about Finger, that's pretty powerful, because if they start buying, it's gonna run up very quickly. August is a slow month usually.
Yes, it is. And again, there's smart people. The people I've been meeting are not people that run, that have $10,000 to their name. I think the smallest hedge fund that I spoke with is maybe 600 million. 600 million is not a big hedge fund. They like to take shots on things like this because this drives their returns. If they can catch a winner from $5 to 500, that'll make them a big win. The next time they go for money raise, they can show that they're not making 6% or 10%. They made, 40%. And, people want to see those returns. And the big boys stop dropping money down. When guys are running billions of dollars, they can't make the returns anymore. You can't move the money.
Right.
People don't realize that.
That's exactly right.
It's very difficult to make returns. I have a great story. This is an old Wall Street story from Paul Tudor Jones. You could probably Google him. He's a famous money manager. I'll say, I can't remember, maybe 35 years ago. And I was around all the big players that I won't give you their names, but you know them from television. You know them all. Tudor Jones wanted to give everybody, you got 30 days of trading. He gave everyone $1 million. And if you can generate returns, he would fund you with bigger money. So I think he did it to 30 guys on the street. Everybody was stuffing that account with winning trades. Each one of those accounts were up 40%, 35%, and they returned the money in a month. Okay, imagine getting 30% return on, let's say 30% return on $40 million. He gave out $40 million. So this guy made, $12 million by just giving it out to everybody. If you were the winner, he would give you, $100 million to manage, whatever the number was at the time. Everybody did it. Everybody put all the winning trades in that account, and Tudor Jones never gave out a penny to anyone. That was the best scam I've ever seen in my life. And everybody was cursing him out, that rat bastard. They all gave all their profits to that guy in hopes of getting more money. And it turned out one of the guys who wasn't a big player is now one of the biggest in the world. And I believe he was part of that whole little sting operation.
Pretty clever.
Yeah, good one.
Someone just posted, I don't know, you would know this, a JP Morgan gold trader just got prison for spoofing, prolific spoofing.
There you go, spoofing, washing, you name it.
Isn't spoofing what Wes Christian is going after?
Yep. And everybody keeps thinking that everything's quiet. Again, I can't speak with Wes. He's got information about public companies. I'm not a public company, so I can't talk to him.
Well, you're also not his client.
Oh, I'm not. I'm just saying that I can't. I have nothing to do with it. He won't talk about it. But again, Pat Byrne said on the conference call, vote for Trump, and he will make it happen. Pat Byrne is the man. He will get it done.
That reminds me, somebody on the call yesterday that said that Patrick Byrne was a flake or a kook, and I didn't repeat it.
Patrick Byrne, so the gentleman, whoever said that on the call, Patrick Byrne is very, very, very tough.
He's smart.
He understands. He is like light years ahead of all of us. I remember being at a conference, and he spoke for an hour and a half about naked short selling. And then he called me up. And I got the point across in 2 minutes that took him an hour and a half, and people were still a little, hazy about what the hell he said. He goes back and talks about his days in China and this and that. And I just walked up there. Everyone's buying a counterfeit share. You go to a steakhouse, you wanted a steak, they bring you the bill. Where's my steak? We don't have it. We owe it to you. Pay the bill. That's what everybody got. Everybody understood that. I broke it down so everybody can understand it. Where Patrick Byrne, an hour and a half, and he had me shaking my head. Okay, so he's that type of guy, but the guy he's a beast. When he puts his mind to something, he doesn't stop until he finishes. Now, he did finish it with Overstock, and he fought, and he spent a ton of money getting to the point. We are trying to help companies that cannot spend a ton of money. Very different.
Yep. So
again,
where's his finger down, judging from some of the comments?
I don't know. Hold on.
I don't know either.
Listen, if you're going to sit here and look for a trading stock, Finger is not the trading stock. Finger is the accumulation stock.
Exactly.
If you want to trade, go trade NVIDIA. You'll get plenty of opportunities. Your hair will stand up. It'll fall out. You'll be happy. You'll be sad. Good luck. If you can just win 51% of the time and do the same trades all the time, you'll be a winner. But what happens, everyone buys a stock at a trading stock. When it starts to run, you sell it too early. When it starts to fall, we all do the same thing. We hold on to it too long. And when it gets to even, you bail out. I've done that 700 times and said, okay, I was down 50 grand. I'm up $500 now. Screw this. I just don't have I just can't figure this stock out. I break even. I walk away for an hour. I come back and the stock is up, and I would have made $80,000 if I would have held on 10 more minutes. Why? Because I got in early. It didn't work for me. I just got in early, and I talked myself out of the trade. Wall Street is a big head fake all the time. It's very difficult. You have to understand everything you're doing, and it's tough. It just weighs on you. It's just brutal. If I didn't know everything about Finger, it could have scared me out. I need to protect my family too. But I know every gory detail. Okay? The company's putting out information that the company's growing like a weed. And you know what? I'll stick with that because I know the fundamentals are there. Then I can see the company fighting. They got West Christian. They're doing things. And now there's big players circling, coming here. It tells me it's ready to go. That's it. That's what it tells me. And I can see Lynn Partners. Lynn Partners is very different from the Kramers. The Kramers are gangsters. You can see by their Gretchen Morgan story. They threaten people, you name it. Lynn Partners isn't that type of guy. One knock on the door, and Lynn Partners will be jumping out of the windows.
Or ratting for a deal.
Oh, they would give up everybody. Who's the brokers that do this? Who does that? They would tell those people in a second.
Yeah.
All right? The Kramers are a different crew. They'll all be looking over their shoulder. They'll be ratting on each other, but they'll be lying to each other because they'll be looking to save their own asses. Listen, we've got people that know the Kramers. I forget his name, Seth or Kurt Kramer. One of them put their house under his father's name. He's hiding his assets. We know Alpine is dragging their feet in a case they can't win. Or why would they want to win? Every regulatory body's after them for fraud and whatever, and they're sitting here trying to fight through it. Just walk away, go out of business. Why are they staying here? Mr. Hoffman will tell us more down the road. He's the guy. He's an attorney. It's what's the site again, William?
Not legal advice, like Knott's Landing, not legal advice.
Right. So, I mean, he's doing a great job. I mean, this legal stuff is over my head. You just have to look at it. Is FINRA, the DTC, the SEC going to help Alpine, who's already been busted with a concentrated short position in GTII in a court document? You think they're after Alpine so bad, they gave us the proof by accident. And someone found that and gave it to me. I didn't see it because I didn't even know anything about the court document with Alpine. The Alpine information came from the woman from DBMM, Dog Boy Nancy, was it DBMM? Sorry. She's the one that told us about it. Don't ask me about DBMM. I still don't know how and who would even bother offering 50,000 shares at 0.0050. If I own the stock, put it away, don't look at it, and go away, and hopefully something good happens. But to sit here and make it, who would even be offering that type of stock? But anyway, that's not my field. I don't believe in that stuff. Anything else?
No, not really.
And I just want to let everybody know, I blasted a woman about 35 years old yesterday, great tennis player. She had a woman partner who was a good tennis player, and I was playing with a woman who was an awful player. And they decided, the two of them, to beat her up. So I was sitting there biting my finger motion tongue, like I know the stock's ticking down, so I'm angry already. And they giggled at this poor woman for missing the shot. Well, the next time they popped the ball up to my side, I hit the ball so hard This woman didn't even move, and I drilled her right in the collarbone. She screamed, "What the fuck?" And I just went, "Okay, the score's 2-7 now. Fuck you." That's how hard I hit her. So I believe in payback's a bitch. So again, that's how it goes. That's how I feel about finger motion and GTII. You're making me waste my time. We're gonna make our money back and bury you guys and put you in jail. That's what we're doing.
God chooses strange, avenging angels.
Let's go. If you're growing up in Brooklyn, we were always taught, don't be that guy like Dirty Mayo, get picked on in the park. We're not like that where we come from. If someone's taking your money, my dad would send me back out to go get it. Whether I win, lose, or draw, you better come back with your money. That's how it goes.
Wow.
Of course, my father would send me out into the Hell's Angel gang members to get back. So that's it. So, anything else?
No, there's really nothing else.
Hold on to your toupees. We're not going away. Finger to me again. Everybody knows Dan Borders is basically, he knows the meetings are coming up. Everybody's meeting. And the story will be kill Lynn Partners. That's it. They're short $166 million. We all know Jeffries is their prime broker. I told you we know someone who knows the president of Jeffries. We've been working that angle, but he's a $6 billion wealthy man. And, we have to wait for him to come back from vacation, but he will. He owns Finger, so he will do the work for us and get that information and relay it back. That if Lynn is listening, we're going to the top, but we're going to make sure your prime broker knows that you're committing fraud. If they know about it, shame on them. But if they don't know about it, they will know about you and what you're doing.
That's right. And if it's in writing that they know about it, they're in trouble in the court system eventually.
Right. It's going to come back and bite them. You can't hide it forever. Listen, GameStop was there. What took it over the hump is when all Wall Street came in and decided to run over the shorts. It wasn't, what's that kid's name? Warren Kitty and the retail investors. That's all bullshit. It was hedge funds banding together, running over the shorts. And it's not going to be long before we can ban all the hedge funds here and help run over the shorts. That's it.
The full appeals court, J.R. Ewing, who works with Not Legal Advice, the full appeals court denied FINRA's appeal. The full appeals court denied FINRA's appeal. I don't know what that means. So now,
how could it be possible that the regulators can't be these shitheads, criminals that they all know are criminals?
Now they're going to appeal to the Supreme Court, apparently. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, good. The higher it goes, the more exposure, and the cost for Alpine to defend himself, I guess, in the Supreme Court has got to be ratcheted up, right?
You would think.
I don't know about you, but I don't know any rich people that love to throw money down the well here for nothing.
All they have to do is sell some more GTII. They can pay for their lawyers.
Well, again,
I'm just kidding. Because they can't take the money out anyway. So.
Right. Let's see. The former head of J.P. Morgan Chase, Francis Meadows' desk, and his top trader was sentenced to prison for spoofing fraud and attempted. Well, that's pretty good. How long did they get?
A year, 2 years.
A year?
Yeah.
Any day, I told you I know a few people that went to jail. Trust me. They all said the same thing. The money's not worth it. You can't get back those days that you lose, no matter what it is.
Can't get back your virginity either.
For those who don't understand it, in Brooklyn, when people go to jail, they don't say they went to jail. They just tell them they went to college. They went back to college. So if you ever hear that saying, that's where they are.
Well, I can't wait till there's some sort of movement.
Well, again, there's nothing I can say. There's nothing we can do. We've been fighting for a long time. We went through, I put a picture of my friend Chris up there. The poor guy died of brain cancer. And here's the companies that like CVM, and he's working head and neck. Northwest Bio, I believe, is working on brain cancer, and no one cares. No one cares. Happens to everybody. I put up the former head of JP Morgan sentenced to jail. There you go. That's what's going to take. Once they drag naked short selling into it, they're all going to run. And I think MMTLP is going to be a great case for that.
I think there's something going on behind the scenes because they want to settle this They want to get it out of the Congress, I think. It's gaining a lot of momentum, the work that everyone's doing. So,
Mark Bazile put up AMC apes should be watching MMTLP as they navigate through Congress.
Mark,
So that is a gentleman. Everyone should follow him on Twitter. He talked about how RICO and Adar Bay decision can help microcaps recover losses caused by toxic lenders. I mean, this is a gentleman. I met with him in person. This is a guy that I want to go to battle with. Anyone who has a small cap company needs to contact him. Okay? They need to contact him. This is a guy that can make things happen on the short term, put pressure on the shorts, and then hand it over to West Christian for the bigger payday down the road. That takes time. All right? You have to pay attention. This guy is an ace. All right? This is a guy that I would love to go to battle with. And you know what? If things were going easy for us in FNGR and GTII, I would stop what I'm doing and drag companies to this guy because I think that's how important it is. He is a breath of fresh air. He's the guy you want to go to battle with. He answers questions on Twitter. He's a regular guy, smart as a whip, understands security fraud, understands the toxic lenders. Again, most of these guys wouldn't be shorting zillions of shares of stock, and there's no way out. Their out has always been a convertible debenture. Now that they're removed, they're exposed. That's the difference.
I'm all confused what the appeal was because the injunction was to prevent. Anyway, I'll watch.
Don't get me. I'm not getting involved in it. I don't really care till the end.
All right.
So all this legal mumbo jumbo. All I know is Alpine is a bunch of crooks. Everybody knows that for some reason these guys are paying law firms a ton of money to keep this thing alive.
Look, I don't.
Why? I don't know.
We have a regulatory system that's supposed to enforce the rules, but they don't, and so it goes through the legal system, and everybody has rights.
Just look at the FNGR cases every month I posted, the enforcement cases. They don't confirm or deny. They just all basically, it was our computers, it was something, it was always something. Right?
Right.
Never anybody, no one's ever in charge. The system's missed, Goldman Sachs system missed what? I forget how many shares, 30 billion shares, whatever the hell they naked shorted. I forgot the numbers. No big deal. I'm just saying that this is something that the system allows to happen. We can't do anything about it. But again, once it happens, these guys start getting caught. Listen, when you got to go, leave your family and go report to jail. Trust me, the guys from JP Morgan, all the money they make, their careers are ruined, and now they have to go to jail. And that's what's going to happen to the guy at Vertical Group, the Alpine, the guys from ASCM, all these market makers that have been stealing. Timothy Sykes, who's sitting around, he's a blabberpuss, telling people he's a short seller. They're all frauds, all of them. Just follow the sell tickets, all illegal sales. They don't borrow. If they work at a day trading firms have no access to borrow a share. No one gives them access. Fidelity doesn't give them access to their stock loan. There's no way. Goldman Sachs doesn't let day trading firms have access to their portfolio so they can borrow shares from them. So these guys have no access to any sizable amount of stock to borrow. It's all make believe.
There's a lot of repetitive questions. I don't think you need to
Listen,
answer.
I have to take my son to the doctor for an appointment, but again, I have to leave at 3:30. But if there's no questions, there's nothing more I can say. It's just a shitty day. Be careful in the market. They're rotating the slaughter. You never know when the wheel is going to spin on you. Today it happened to be Dick's Sporting Goods Store, DKS. What is it down? $34. So you never know when you're going to get, it's down 23%. So here you are, you own Dick's Sporting Goods Store. It's a big, beautiful store. The stock is going up. It's performing. It sells tennis rackets, tennis balls, clothing. And now the stock takes a hit because of people looting. And now it's down 23%. So you waited for a year to get your 25%. Oop, you missed it. That's why I keep trying to tell you, you have to sell some. You have stocks like that. Reevaluate what you're doing, because you can see they pull the plug out real quick.
The real scary thing going on right now is the bond market's on the verge of a sell-off. I don't think it's going to happen, but if it's starting, and if it takes momentum, you're going to want to be out of all those big name stocks, because that's going to be a source of liquidity for funds in trouble.
That's what they do. They use those stocks to raise money. You can sit there and say, well, Apple's doing great. Why is it down?
But the problem is they're all in the same stocks. So when they all try to sell them.
That's exactly right. That when they go up the same way every day, we watch them all go up every day. When they want to get out, they're going to go down the same way.
Yeah.
That's the way they went up.
Yeah.
All right?
Okay, Ham, you're the best.
Well, listen, I thank everybody for their time and their effort. For those that don't want to pay attention and could care less, I don't blame you. Go someplace else. Go knock yourself out. Go call the Kramers up. Call the partners up. Give them your money and tell them you want to make money with them. Knock yourself out. That's part of the game, right?
I suppose.
We're fighting the good fight. You want to go to the dark side and go steal, go help yourself. Hey, listen, if they taught me how to naked short, I could have been a naked short seller. Right?
So
I could have been rich and famous all these years. Hey, let's kill this company. Oh, they're working on a cure for cancer? Screw that. Kill it. Who cares?
So your choices are,
3.
We can knock ourselves out, stand like a statue, or bite finger.
What I try to tell people is when stocks are moving, don't stand like a statue. Don't be afraid. You can sell the stock. No one's going to bite you. Your small sales, nothing's going to change the game.
Selling is the hardest part.
So, again, if your family needs money and you got to pay your bills, don't listen to anybody. Listen to your family. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
I tell you that all the time. If you have a stock that's going up, never turn a winning trade into a losing trade. Make a small sale. You don't have to sell it all. This way, if it pulls back, you can buy back. Let's say you have 1,000, you sell 250. If it pulls back, you buy the stock. Let's say it was Finger Motion, you sold it at 6, and you can buy back 250 shares. You can buy it back here, and you lower your cost from $4 down to $3.80, and you just keep. And next time it does it, you can do it again. And this way, you still have 750 shares. You got a lower cost. And this way, you always keep chopping away. That's the name of the game. You have to survive. That's what the shorts are trying to do. They're trying to get the people that are on the fringe to panic. Hurry up. It's going down. Get out. Hurry up. The chart shows you it's going down. That's why I don't follow the charts, because they're manipulating the charts to scare you. That's just what they do.
Yeah.
Oh, the stock had a big move. It went from 4 to 6. Well, I remember the stock was 9. It went from 9 to 60 cents. When it gets over 9, then alert me what's going on. It'll go to 10. I understand what's going on in the middle here. And my favorite guy is going to be the guy, William, who wrote the story on Seeking Alpha, that the company has no way to get to profitability.
Michael Dion.
And I believe that Martin Shen, the CEO, said in one of his videos, they believe they'll be very profitable soon, right? In one of his videos.
Yeah.
And yet this guy decided just to write that story to get people to sell. I don't see, there's no way for them to get to profitability. Their revenue is exploding, and this guy can't see them ever making money.
Yeah, he's just there to provide cover for the selling.
That's all he's doing. That's what he was.
And the SEC is full of dolts that don't see it.
They put out the story first, and then they do the bear raid. That's their interference.
I wonder where the SEC does its hiring.
This is how we used to do it in Brooklyn growing up. When we have a big snowstorm, half the kids would line up on the other side of the block, and we would line up on this side. And if you're not from Brooklyn, there's apartment buildings. So when an apartment building let out, there was 50 kids in the building versus 50 kids on the other side. So we used to take our snowballs, and half of us would throw them up high, and the other people on the other side of the street would all look at the snowballs coming down, and everybody else would be throwing line drives at them, nailing them when they looked up. That's an ambush. That's what we used to do.
That
So
sounds
again,
fun.
that's just like the guys writing these fake reports. They tried to throw the report up there for us, and then the shorts go attack right behind it. It's the same nonsense. Anyway, listen, I'm going to run. I'm going to get myself a Coke and then go do what I have to do. Have a great night, and we'll speak tomorrow. Keep your heads up.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks. Bye. All right, so somebody says I have a fake Twitter account. I only use, maybe I'll look into getting a Bluebird on my Twitter, but I don't post that much. I don't really respond to too many people, maybe to Anna or Ham. Every now and then, one of the bashers, I get annoyed, but it's very rare. And I respond to Gary Gensler quite a few times too. I don't know what's going on with Alpine. They're going to do JR and Not Legal Advice are going to do a live stream on Alpine in 15 minutes, which I guess is their way of telling me to get the F off the air. Yeah, I know. I don't. Anyway. I don't know. So many things brought up. Somebody asked about, I wrote one question down that was interesting to me. What do I think is going to happen with real estate versus the dollar, or real estate versus interest rates, I suppose. The answer is I don't know. If real estate currently is a facsimile for bonds, for income, then real estate is going to go down massively. Commercial real estate, residential, rental, the, what do you call those, the bed and breakfasts that you can do online, it's called something. They're all go down because as rates go up, it's not only that it's harder to borrow money to buy them, but the rates of return that people expect will be higher. So they'll go down. That, I think, is a pretty powerful force. On the other hand, I don't know what's going to happen with mortgage debt. there's an argument out there that banks will not allow mortgage debt to be disappeared, so to speak. On the other hand, Obama was not an FDR, but if we got another FDR in the face of tough economic times, there might be something to help people with mortgages. I don't know. The final thing is real estate, depending on what kind it is, has value when there's blood in the streets, when this currency is down. I mean, I read an article the other day that some people are buying office buildings in downtown San Francisco for 70% off. So paying 30% for those buildings, one would think that such a magnificent city as San Francisco, with a nice public transport, it's a port, a great location, nice weather. I mean, if a little chilly, you would think they would get that city back to being a functioning city. And it might take a little while, but that real estate's going to be valuable. There's not much real estate in San Francisco. Ham needs new verbiage. Well, he's not, he doesn't do what he does because he's a English major. The bond market is way underwater. I don't think it is yet. I don't think you've seen anything yet. Do I have any job ideas for a 70-year-old Rastaman? I lost everything on finger options and need to work, but too old to go back to construction. Well, I would say I lost a lot on those. For me, I lost a lot on those finger options. But I would say one strategy, which you got to be careful with, would be to buy a few finger options now, either August or September. If the stock starts going up, you sell those and you double up your position and higher. And just see if you can have a bit of a run to make some of that money back. In terms of what you should do as a 70-year-old, I think there's only really 4 roles for men in the world. And they developed over eons. The fact that women want those roles, okay, fine, but it doesn't. Men don't have other roles. Men just have those roles. I think I got to remember them. Protection. Oh boy. My brain's. It's protection, providing, leading, and teaching, I believe, are the 4. But those aren't the words. There's different words the way I remembered it. But anyway, at 70 years old, I think the one that's left is leadership and or teaching. I don't think you're going to be the source of protection or providing like you were when you were younger. But teaching and role model and mentoring, I think that's still there. I'm a 30-year-old real estate broker. Until we got supply, housing remains so many behind the scenes not paying rent or mortgage. Well, Big Orange, I think about that all the time, and I just unfortunately had to explain a little bit about my situation. And it hurts me because my previous house is $2 million now, and I missed out on that last. Prices go gradually and then all at once, and my target was $2 million years ago. So I do have predictive ability. And DC real estate, when people list a house or an apartment, it sells within a week. So it's not over. I mean, people are buying. And I think it goes to the first part of your point that there's a limited amount of inventory. But when everyone's perception is in one direction, it can go too far and then it can stop. And I'll just point out one thing. A lot of people buy real estate as if it's safe, as if it's going to keep going up, and also because they think it can generate income for them. And this Bed Bath & Beyond online, what's it called? When you can go online, Airbnb. I don't know if that's working as well right now as people expected. People can get overextended on homes, and they can own one too many home. I am shocked that, the baby boom generation made everything expensive. It's kind of one guy that was teaching us about this concept 30 years ago. It's like a boa constrictor swallowing a pig. You could see this big bulge going through the boa constrictor. And that's what the baby boom did. They made, early on, they made suburbs expensive. As the baby boomers went to school, schools got expensive. As they went into colleges and universities, they got expensive. When they got their first jobs, it made apartments and starter homes expensive. Anyway, it goes on like this. Insurance, suits, there's a whole industry following the baby boom generation, and there's still a lot of money, wealth, that baby boomers have compared to others, although I think Gen Z is doing well, or it's the millennials, I forget which. One of the younger generations is doing very well. Well, that was scary. Sorry, I thought somebody was in my house. But anyway, what is surprising to me is housing prices keep going up because a lot of these baby boomers that own homes are going to downsize, and they're going to want to move into the city, in my opinion. They're going to want to move back on campus. So it's counterintuitive that suburban homes and other houses keep going up in price. But there does seem to be a trend toward young couples buying. And women in DC, women are buying a lot. A lot of women are buying. And they have the salaries. They have, here in DC, they have the big jobs and the salaries. So good on them. Good on them. But anyway, Big Orange, my point was this idea there's not enough inventory, that can change when people decide, hey, don't want to buy anymore. And then all of a sudden people who maybe missed out on selling start trying to sell. And maybe all those Airbnb houses start to be sold because people can't afford to keep them. All my point is the inventory can get quite soggy. There can be a lot of inventory all at once. So everyone wants to buy real estate now. And I remember in my lifetime when nobody wanted to buy real estate. That can happen again. Well, real estate is a rich person's hobby. I just learned the lesson. I didn't want to have my house sold, but there's also the problem of capital gains taxes. Yeah, interest rates are very high, man. It sounds like you're getting high, man. But interest rates can go a lot higher. They can go a lot higher, and I think they will. Now, there's no one wants to buy at 6.5%, 7%. Interest rates could get to 12 and 15%. And that could happen. I like that idea, Spiny. I think a lot of real estate is expensive because of, you call it corporate speculation. I think the big pools of money thought, hey, this is a great idea. We can go buy doors. They call it doors. And we can do some renovation and we can rent them out. And we can keep raising rents every year. And this is a great way to get income for investors, charge fees, and continue to be ticks on the back of the economy. Well-paid ticks. But just because it's big money and just because they have an idea doesn't mean they're going to be right. But everyone needs a place to live, and that's a fact, Jack. Do I think interest rates will get as high as they were in the 70s? Well, no one knows this, but Jimmy Carter appointed Paul Volcker to fight the inflation that started under Nixon and Gerald Ford. But one could argue the fuse was lit under Johnson, guns and butter. But it was Carter who appointed Volcker. Reagan gets all the credit, but anyway, Carter did it. Volcker decided to break the back of inflation, and he drove interest rates, to my memory, to 22%. This guy Powell, does he have that in him? I don't know. We're in a completely different world than we were when Jimmy Carter was president. It hadn't been too many years since we were the world's greatest creditor nation. I think in the late 60s, early 70s, we were still the world's largest creditor nation. We are by far the world's greatest debtor now. We still had the technology revolution ahead of us. We were a young nation. The baby boomers were just getting into the prime areas of their working years. It's different now. So I'm not sure the country could sustain the pain of going to 22% interest rates. It may become necessary if we don't want to run on the dollar, but I think Powell will blink. He'll say he won the war and blink. And it might happen soon, because I think it'll be easier for the Fed and the Treasury to try to inflate the economy so that the debt becomes a smaller proportion of what they have to pay back. But it's a really scary game they're playing. Because on the other hand, oil will cease to be priced in the dollar if the dollar's value goes down. So there is a space call about Alpine going on right now with Not Legal Advice and J.R. Ewing. And you can go, I'm not sure it's Space or YouTube. It might be YouTube. But just go to Not Legal Advice either on YouTube or Not Legal Advice maybe on Space Call. And I didn't read Tom Brokaw's The Greatest Generation. I didn't read it. Oh, I'm not saying boomers had a free ride. I think boomers had to work hard, very hard. It's just the overall trend, and it's not specific to any one person or to the boomers, but a lot of economic trends were on the side of those generations. I don't see those advantages for the younger generations at all. But it was tough to buy homes, to buy. It was tough. Wasn't President Reagan the one who deregulated the stock market? Actually, a lot of deregulation happened under, guess who? Jimmy Carter. I would say that it was Bill Clinton who did most of the, what in retrospect is horrifying damage to the market, the protections that had developed in the marketplace. The Big Bang, I think, happened in 76 or thereabout. You'd have to look it up. So that was under Carter, I think, not Reagan. If I'm right about the date, it was certainly Carter. When the commissions changed. And then Reagan pushed through a lot of changes in the regulatory landscape. One of the biggest, believe it or not, was that savings and loans could issue CDs and have federal insurance, to use for lack of a better word, federal backing. They could sell the CDs across the country. It used to be you could only do it in your state. It became regional, became national. That was a huge change in money flows. It set up money markets. There were a lot of changes started during Reagan's time. Reagan gets a lot of credit for tax cuts and for cutting back on regulation, and maybe it's deserved. But I come from the school that a lot of what Reagan got credit for, Jimmy Carter did. Yeah, higher interest rates will change some of the investment considerations. We got out of whack there. Look, one thing you guys have, me too, we've experienced for a long time is that the Fed somehow, quote unquote, controls interest rates. If confidence is lost in the value of the dollar, the bond market will control interest rates. If the market perceives that for example, Saudi Arabia consumes all of its oil and has nothing left to export, or that there's a decline suddenly in Russian production, or that I'm trying to make up scenarios, or that the great miracle of the Permian Basin settles back, you could see the bond market take control of interest rates really rapidly. Not legal advice, streams until 10 p.m. All right. When there is no standard, derivatives are the standard. When there is no standard, derivatives are the standard. When there are no standard, derivatives are the standard. It's too confusing. Too confusing to a poor small town boy like me. Just wasn't your cup of tea. I was wishful thinking. Now I don't mind the things you're gonna do, say it all. On the other hand, there is a golden band. And on the other hand, there is a golden band. To remind me of. Does anyone know about the company that GTII bought? I guess someone does. I guess someone does. I was going to try to give you an answer, but I'm concerned that my answer, one, might be non-public information, and two, might no longer be accurate. So I'll try to be someone who knows something about the new company. There are no research analysts. So there's no source of information to go to. All right. Here's a prediction for you. It's not my prediction. On the other hand, I'm not going to tell you whose prediction it is. But here's the prediction. Finger motion closes above $4.50 today. How about finger motion closes at $4.60 today, which was the exact prediction that I just heard. So we'll do a little digging. So does anyone know anything about the company that GTII bought? So the news corrected this morning. GTII has signed a membership interest purchase agreement with AI Commerce Holdings LLC to acquire all the membership interests, including assets and operations, from the members of AI Commerce Group, privately held Puerto Rican company, in the business of acquiring and operating e-commerce websites and brands to make them more efficient. The new company would become part of GTII through the incorporation of a new wholly owned subsidiary. AI Group was incorporated to take advantage of the inefficiencies in e-commerce by using AI technologies. The team is made up of experts in digital marketing, e-commerce, sourcing, procurement, and banking. David Reichman said this is a very important day for the company and its shareholders, as management has successfully negotiated an agreement which may put us squarely in the burgeoning AI business sector. AI Commerce Group is the next generation of e-commerce using technology and artificial intelligence to improve efficiencies in all stages in direct to retail brands. We provide brands and companies who need expertise, technology, and capital help to reach their full potential. The team is comprised of seasoned veterans in e-commerce, sourcing, logistics, digital marketing, and banking. So there, now some of you know something about AI commerce. Here's AI Commerce's website. Welcome to AI Commerce Group, where we are charting the course for the future of e-commerce. In the current online marketplace, many small businesses struggle to compete with larger retail giants, attributable to a lack of resources, leading to a fragmented and inefficient e-commerce landscape. This not only makes it challenging for consumers to discover their desired products, but it also makes it strenuous for businesses to reach their full potential. Our vision: the digital commerce landscape is characterized by fragmentation and inefficiencies. Countless small businesses are vying for a presence online, but often lack the necessary resources to compete effectively against larger retailers. This market dispersion not only hinders consumers in their quest to discover their products they desire, but also constrains businesses from reaching a wider customer base. Elevate your business with AI. AI-powered e-commerce aggregators provide a myriad of advantages both for consumers and businesses. Lower prices. We harness the scale of our operations to negotiate superior deals with suppliers, thus providing cost savings that we pass on to consumers at lower prices. Expansive product selection. By integrating numerous small businesses into our operations, we can offer a broader range of products, including niche items and those not readily available from larger retailers. Enhance customer service. Our scale and resources allow us to offer superior customer service encompassing 24/7 support, straightforward return policies, and a wide array of payment options. Increased market competitions. By amplifying the presence of small businesses in the online marketplace, we foster greater competition, which ultimately benefits consumers through lower prices and improved product and service quality. Drive innovation. With resources at our disposal, we are in a position to invest significantly in innovation, outpacing smaller businesses and keeping pace with larger retails. This innovation leads to the development of new products, services, and novel ways of conducting businesses. So there's some information, so some people know something about the company that was just purchased by GTII. There's no information on the website on earnings and all that. The whole goal of companies moving into the GTII space is they're incubated and they learn to file their forms, get their quarterlies out, and then they can float on their own. That's about all I know about that company. And I found that on their website at aicommercegroup.com. aicommercegroup.com. So now I hope somebody knows something, anything about the company that was purchased by GTII. What I will bring to your attention is this description is exactly what Logic does. And Logic's been doing for a few years, is providing a service to smaller online retailers which allows them advertising, fulfillment, orders, payment, all those things I know nothing about, which big retailers get from Trade Desk and others, but I think the big one is Trade Desk. That's what Logic is providing to smaller and medium-sized businesses. So change a few of the names and the faces, the story is the same one. I don't know any of the revenues. I've heard some numbers, but because they're not in the marketplace, I don't feel that I can be the someone who knows anything about the acquisition GTII just made. So we're going to have to wait until they release some of the data and metrics on what the company is doing. So that's my answer to that question. Finger is 425. It doesn't look very hopeful for this prediction of my prediction. I reduced it to 450. The prediction I heard was 460 by the close of business, and it certainly doesn't look like that is eventualizing. So we might have to chalk that up to my prediction that Novak Djokovic would win Wimbledon, or that Novak Djokovic would get back to number one and attain 400 weeks at number one. I know it's 420, man. It's 420, man. The Soca bouncer. Well, I think Ronald, that's right. Ronald Greco. If you look at the short squeeze in AMC or GME, it is the matter of surprise. And I suppose your question then would bring in an observation which I could hardly dispute, that maybe Finger and GTII are so well known it's not going to catch the shorts by surprise. But you never know. I can't think of an example, but like a herd of cattle all run in one direction, and they all run that way and run that way and run that way and run that way, and then I don't know what changes, and all of a sudden they're stampeding in a different direction. And my point on that, it's not a good analogy, is the shorts. The SEC encourages, allows, and promotes the theft of U.S. securities markets by reportedly 13,000 entities out of Canada, groups out of Germany, which might include representatives of Citadel and SAC and Goldman Sachs and etc. But the SEC actively encourages young men to sign up companies and get them into toxic notes so they can start selling stock that doesn't exist and move that money offshore without paying taxes. This is the mission of the SEC. It is the mission of Goldman Sachs, the mission of Citadel. This is what they're doing, in my judgment. It's not complicated to see, so they must be doing it. And anyway, it's become so easy to do. If you're an idiot like Kurt Kramer, or a blockhead like Mayo, or a effete doughboy like Jeff Easton, or a young punk just out of college like whoever the name is with Sabi, you're going to do this all day long because you're not going to get arrested. You're not going to go to jail. If for some reason the SEC needs to show they're doing something, they're going to just ask you to regurgitate the little narrow amount of profit you made on the toxic note and your warrants. They're not going to go after the trillions, apparently, of dollars that get shifted out to Germany and elsewhere without paying taxes. Why? Because it helps Goldman Sachs. It helps Gary Gensler. It helps the greed that knows no end of men, mostly all men, that are at the top of the United States financial system. Well, that can change all of a sudden. It can change by the awareness that's being caused by MMTLP. It can be changed by the higher interest rates, so liquidity is no longer free. It can be changed by one bank going down. It can be changed by one person getting arrested because maybe there is an honest regulator. It's not Gary Gensler, but it might be Gerbar Grewal. It's not Virginia Countryside either. She's not going to be it. But there might be somebody. So anyway, my point is, it could catch everyone by surprise when there's a buy-in or when there's an enforced action to follow the rules. Because the annoying thing that Gary Gensler is going to find out is there are people out there that like to follow the rules. There are people that once they realize, wait a minute. You mean Gary Gensler's been lying all along? Goldman Sachs has been lying all along? We're doing what now? Oh no, we're buying that back. And you get an honest person with power that's pissed off, they'll buy it back. And that can catch the shorts by surprise. Right now, the shorts just figure, hey, I'm Jeff Easton. I deserve this. I'm not the sucker, but he is. He's just the patsy. Ken Griffin's never going to go to jail, but Jeff Easton will. The guy that runs that other venue or whatever, he's not going to jail, but Kurt Kramer will. But they think for the time being, hey, we're protected. Well, they're out there making money so that it's an arm's length deal. so that when it goes bad, Gary Gensler can say, let's go after them. Gary Gensler will never go after Goldman Sachs. I mean, there's only one reason Gary Gensler is in charge of the SEC. Goldman Sachs financed politicians for 2 or 3 decades, including Janet Yellen and others. I'll just leave it out. And anyway, Gensler's there to protect Goldman Sachs, not to enforce the rules that make your markets, as he said in front of Congress, the deepest, most transparent, and honest, I think was the word, but integrity maybe it was. The markets with the most integrity in the world. I pity the rest of the world. But he was just lying out of his rear end. Or he's stupid. But he's there to protect Goldman Sachs, not you. And the sooner we realize that, the sooner we won't be surprised by anything. $425.5. So 8 minutes. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. So another prediction that I've made that is wrong. That's right. That's right. Steve stays free. Well, that's a good idea. Keep calling every day. And nothing kills housing like high interest rates. Or a population implosion. There's a book. Now I forget the title of it. I saved it somewhere. I want to read it. But the guy's predicting, rather than population going over 9 or 10 billion, he thinks the population in the world by the turn of the century is going to implode. And I think there's a lot more choice when it comes to all kinds of interaction between men and women, but there's few births as a result of it. Powell may go to 12%. Well, I don't think that's high enough. But it'd be interesting if he does, Bob L., because in my government class, taught by George Grayson, who had a memory, he had an amazing memory. He could memorize every student's name in the classroom. But he said that the government debt is something we don't have to worry about because we owe it to ourselves. And I think perhaps in large part that's still true. And if it's not, it will become true as the Fed buys up the debt that China sells and the rest of the world avoids. But if interest rates go to 12% and our national debt that we admit exists, that we have to pay on, is just around 30 trillion, that's a lot of squid. That is, I'm no genius with arithmetic, but if you call it 30 trillion and you use 10%, that's interest payments of 3 trillion a year. Where are we going to be able to buy tanks and aircraft carriers? Where I don't know. I I don't know. The real answer is I don't know. Yeah, we got to 22%. Do I have a moderator who takes down comments? I don't think so. I made a couple of people moderators that everyone said I could trust, but I don't even know you could take down comments. I would prefer people did not take. I'd rather have a record of the comment, even if, look, for me, I'd rather hear someone that disagrees with me than everybody agrees with me. I'm not that much interested in my life in having yes men all around me. That's boring. I'd rather learn from other people. What's the highest you ever saw rates? Well, credit cards, you know how high they are, but that's not what you're asking me. I would say it was around 23%. And I'm trying to remember if anything went higher. There might have been higher in junk bonds and corporate bonds, but 23% is what I remember. I used to sell to my clients certificates of deposit that were paying 16, 17, 18%. Unbelievable. Oh, no, you can disagree with me. I'm quite disagreeable. No. I try not to be disagreeable. Although Jordan Peterson says that if you want to be powerful, you have to be disagreeable. You have to be a threat. You have to be, essentially a beast. But it's those big, powerful people who behave in a socially acceptable way. They are the leaders, according to him. And I'm using my own words. Yeah, my first mortgage was around that too, $1,375. I think my first mortgage was $9.99 or something, and then it went up to 11 or 12%, and then it maxed out at 16%. It had some sort of formula. Post again. Trump needs to stop spending all our money. Yep. Well, it's not, it's interesting, this argument that we have to stop spending. Our modern financial system is dependent on an ever-expanding amount of debt. And we call it growth. But we need ever-expanding amount of debt for the thing not to topple over and collapse. Bill Clinton learned that in 1998, I think it was. He actually got the, let me get that right, 80 to 88, 88 to 90. Yeah, I think it was around 98. He actually got the federal debt, the deficit, positive, and he was buying back bonds. But you know what happened? Wall Street and the bond market reacted with their unique power, and they didn't like that the bond market was disappearing. And then however you want to call it, obviously Democrats didn't dispute the election of George W. Bush, because to dispute elections is anti-democratic. But somebody disputed the election of George W. Bush, and it went into prolonged battle. But one of the first things George W. Bush did was give people back their money. The money belongs to the people. So he gave a massive tax cut. And then he increased spending. And then he got us into war. So on 3 different fronts, the powers that be reversed the fact that the United States government was paying down its debt and turned it into an explosion of debt. And that growth in the debt continued. You know, Jimmy Carter was a conservative, fiscal conservative, but the debt grew a little bit under him. Reagan got it to $1 billion. And then under George H.W. Bush, I'm trying to remember the numbers. It grew. The numbers aren't coming to my head. And then it grew for a while under Clinton, and it reversed. Under George W. Bush, both our debt and deficits grew massively. And then folks came in. You see, folks, we're gonna have to look out for folks. The debt grew massively under folks. And then the debt continued to grow under the casino owner. And under this administration, it's skyrocketing. But that is how our financial system is set up. And at some point, you cross this I don't know what to call it. You cross this line, and the debt just goes up exponentially. And I think we're already there. So I don't think it matters who is president. Our debt is going to go up. Jimmy Carter. My name is Jimmy Carter. I want a government as good and as honest as the American people. Jimmy Carter declared bankruptcy, or at least his farm did. Yeah, David Smith. There was a guy I followed at one of my firms. His name was Lopsher. Lopsher, hello. I'd call him. He'd say, Lopsher, hello. And I'd say, hey, Harry. And he'd say, oh, hi, Billy. What do you got for me? Well, I'm wondering what, Apple's going to do. Well, let me see. That counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it counts. Well, you should be okay in Apple. You might see a pullback, $1.50, but it should rally to 38. Anything else I can do for you? No? Well, how's everything down in Washington? Well, Lopsher, hello, Lopsher. He predicted interest rates would go down to under 1%. And I was like, you're crazy. Well, he was right. I wonder, he's probably not with us anymore. I wonder what his predictions would be now for where interest rates go. Five-finger $8 at the bell. Well, my prediction was wrong, although in the aftermarket, Finger is trading at $4.30. I think Jimmy Carter actually is 99 October 1. So I think he's 99 now. I think he's going to be 100 October 1, but we'll find out. Could be wrong. Could be wrong. Post again. Post again. All right, I might end it here shortly. Did Alpine get away with it again? Pete, I don't understand. I'm trying to process the information that was given to me. Alpine's not going to get away with jack shit, but some sort of appeal, some sort of injunction. Maybe Alpine won some sort of reprieve. I can't figure it out. I'd give you an answer if I could, but I can't. I'll try to have an answer tomorrow. I'll listen to what Not Legal Advice and JR say. Are they trying to keep Carter alive so we can see an economy that's worth? So he was born 1924. So I would be right. If he makes it to October 1 this year, he'll be 100, right? Or will he be in his 100th year? I see. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not liking that I'm always wrong today. Yeah, there is. Ham came on at 2. It's 4 o'clock right now, so about 2 hours ago. Ham. So he's 99. Okay. Or he will be 99. He's not going to make it another birthday. He might make it to this birthday, but not another one. Finger is at 4:30. So I guess you can take my predictions and $6 and buy a toll coffee at Starbucks. A toll. 4:30. Oh, it's already finished. J.R. Ewing. Okay. I do recommend, now maybe JR you can put up, it's either on Space Calls or on YouTube, Not Legal Advice and JR Ewing, Larry Hagman, put up a, just now, and I imagine it's not very long. It might only be about half an hour or so, 40 minutes. They just did a video on what happened with Alpine and the court system. So that's I highly recommend their sober analysis. 4:30 on Finger. Annoying, huh? I don't know who this Rastaman is. I wonder if Herb Smoka is a Buffalo soldier born in Africa. What is the pronunciation of DEIS KNUTZ? So I'm going to say that I do not know enough about that platform to give a recommendation. One way t'other. All right, I'm going to go 4 more minutes and then I'm going to go walk my dog because he's anxious. The 7's at 25 cents. My father's Uncle Charles was a Buffalo soldier. Wow. And a marksman. A rare, my understanding is that's a rare talent to be a marksman. Wow. I don't think I could shoot somebody, you know. But I guess if you're in war, you do. That's okay. So 7. Thank you, whoever did that. Uh, Dominic Pantaleo. All I can say about the 7 calls strike price, I bought some today. How many did I buy? I got fewer than I wanted. I think I bought 17. Might have been 18. I was trying to buy more. And I paid more than 25. Well, some maybe at 25 cents. But I think I paid between 25 cents and 30 cents for them. Not a lot of money. Thank you for the treats for Lucky Science Rules. I'll let him know. What he needs is some CBD that makes him conk out. He needs some of the Rastaman stuff. Yeah, I'd like to get a tiny bit more. I probably would have bought more if I hadn't come on live. But I think 7 is a good number. Obviously, you can do 5 and 6 or 8 or 9. But if finger starts to run, what I really suggest, because I didn't do enough of it, on the other hand, in my own defense, last time in August, finger didn't really go much above. It kept trying, but if it had gone to 7 or 8, I would have done what I'm about to suggest. If finger were to go to 8 or 9 suddenly, I would probably sell my 7s and then try to buy, depending on the price. I mean, it all depends on the prices. The premiums, as it goes up, the premiums will expand. But I'll try to take that original money off the table and maybe buy, right now, what did I say? I think it was 9 plus 8. I have 17 or 18. Let me look. I can tell you. Might as well give. It was 9 plus 8. So I have 17. I would sell those and then try to buy maybe 25 of the next strike price. And if it keeps going up, sell those, try to buy 35 or something. Anyway, taking money off the table, though, as it rolls up, it might nip into what your total profit is, but you won't be in a situation where if the bad guys drive it down in volatile actions, that you lose everything. I don't see Junior in MMTLP spaces much more. I don't know. There's a toxicity goes on apparently in some of those spaces. But I think JR and Not Legal Advice are two of the yeomen, or I should say they're doing yeoman's work. Two of the gentlemen of the broader effort that we're all involved in. Okay, you get me some CBD for Lucky Boy. They interval timer, a sniper. Ugh, gross. All right. So thank you to Science Rules. That's very kind. And it's 4:16. So I'm going to say goodnight because he's very anxious. And what it means is he wants to pee or poop. And yeah, the drama, there is drama. I'm not anti, well, I'd prefer that there's not drama, but I'm not anti there's a lot of emotions. It's money. And money just brings things out to people. And there's a lot of leaders and there's a lot of doers. And the clashing is going to happen. I don't begrudge it. We have to try to show each other a little bit of leeway. But for me, it gets, just doing these calls sometimes, I get so drained I don't have the room for the others. But anyway, all right, thank you. Another shitty day coming right up. I know, too bad for my predictions. My prediction didn't work, but at least there was some optimism in my prediction. At least I wasn't saying it would have gone down. The volume on Finger was what, 300,000? If somebody starts buying, and I really believe the charts are telling you there's been somebody buying, the stock is now under $5, so institutions probably can't buy. The thundering herd at Merrill Lynch can't buy. But that doesn't mean that big buyers won't come in to continue this. And if there's even a semblance of large buying, I think the stock could easily be $8, $9, $10 in a minute. Arca said it'll be spot 5 tomorrow. He's great. He does such a great analysis of everything. He gets this one method, that method, and only he has the brain to handle it all. But he gets a good prediction. But I love it when he's, okay, that's spot this and spot that. He's like Harry Lobsher. Lobsher used to go, he'd count 1, 2, okay, don't. But Lobsher did it with, it was a method where what's it called? You had these boxes and you would count the stock down only if it made new lows. Otherwise, you didn't add a bar. I don't know, something. Everybody has their method. I just love it that somebody else does it and it's not me, because I don't have the temperament for it. All right. I'm going to sign off now unless there's something quick. I'll say peace, love, and happiness to everyone. Thank you for tuning in. It is the dog days of August, but sentiment, as Jack McCarthy used to tell us, can change on a dime. And we'll see. Hopefully that's tomorrow. Lobsher, steak and lobsher. It's pretty funny. It's pretty good. No, but I would meet with him. He was an elegant man. In his older age, he's probably younger than I am now, but he took up studying Italian so that he didn't lose his logic. Logic is, I'll do a video on logic. I'll try to do that tonight. I think this is one of the last times you're going to be able to buy logic inexpensively. They just released their 10Q. I think there's, by maybe the first or second week of September, everything will be done and dusted, and you'll have 2 pieces of paper where you have 1 piece of paper now in logic. And I have a feeling that logic could be a 5 to 10x in the next 4 to 8 weeks. So I'll try to do a video tonight. I got to figure out a way to do it. The storage in my system here, there's not enough room to make videos. So maybe I'll do it with my phone and just use printouts. I'll figure out a way to do it. And I'll try to get that done tonight because it's time. Is it a bear raid on Finger? No. I think, well, it could be. My definition is what's happened is they're walking it down. They're just crossing stock with each other. There were real shorts and buddies that helped that helped Lind and their group. And they all work in cooperation, which is illegal. They all communicate with each other, which is illegal. They cross stock, that's illegal. But the SEC allows it. Why? Because it's good for Goldman Sachs. Once you get that in your head that the SEC's there for Goldman Sachs, you never have to be disappointed again. But no, I don't think it's a bear raid or a bear trap. I think they've just been walking it down. And there really hasn't, I mean, as much as I want to tell you there's been a big buyer in there, I really don't see a big buyer in there. What I do see maybe is a professional buyer that's allowing the stock to come to her, and that might be going on. But it'll snap back. Is there a bear rate on GTII? I think GTII, they're taking the opportunity to crush GTII. They're in trouble in GTII. That's what, in my opinion, why Alpine is fighting so hard. And it's August. There's very little buying. They're able to read our tweets and our comments. They probably come on here. They sense, they smell a victory. But the thing with GTII is they can't get it down to the 1 and 5 cents that they wish. Why? Because management, we're not going to let that happen. But yeah, I think GTII, they have been attacking it pretty aggressively. I would say that Finger's going to run first. I think Finger has buyers other than we. So we are the buyers in GTII right now. So as whoever's buying Finger is someone else than us. So I think you're going to see Finger run first. And as Finger creates wealth, I think GTII will be bought. And that scares them. So anyway, all right, Lucky Boy, we're going to go. We'll go right now. I'm not sure he sees me. He looks at me, but I'm not sure he sees me because his eyes don't really focus like they used to. He might. All right. Do I still feel good about a high number for Finger? Well, I wrote it down today, what Ham said. He said the stock could go from $5 to $500. And yes, although Sizu, I would be less than truthful if my heart for this hasn't changed. But yes, I think Finger and GTI, for that matter, in a squeeze, they both could go to 500 in 50 minutes once the squeeze starts. It's going to be, like a, that movie Backdraft when they open the door and the fire. It's going to be like adding oxygen to a fire. So yes, I do think it can go high. It's going to be volatile, Zizu. It'll be extremely volatile. And I would not wait, Zizu. I would not wait to sell everything at $500. Although if you have that courage and you read it right, that would be a home run of home runs. Finger could go to 1,000 or 1,500 or higher. If it's going to do a squeeze like VW, that's what's going to happen. Okay, I really have to run. So long, farewell. Advid is saying goodbye. Because he's anxious. So thanks to everyone. Go watch Not Legal Advice and J.R. Ewing on YouTube, I guess, but it might be on Spaces or both. It's probably both on Alpine. I would highly recommend that. We'll tune in tomorrow. Same ham channel, same ham time, same ham. So, cheers.